What the fuck was that?
Alone?
These are the controversies surrounding Heated Rivalry,
I hate you.
No, you don't.
a gay hockey romance that became the most successful Canadian series in Crave's history, while simultaneously igniting fierce debates about representation, authenticity, and who gets to tell queer stories. November 28, 2025 brought the premiere of an adaptation nobody thought could exist on Crave.
Stupid Canadian wolf pearl.
Rachel Reid had published Heated Rivalry back in March 2019 as explicit romance, the kind of book where intimate scenes weren't just present but foundational to the entire story.
It's you. It's this.
Two NHL captains, Shane Hollander of the Montreal Voyageurs and Ilya Rozanov of the Boston Bears, spend a decade hiding their relationship behind a public rivalry that drives their fans wild. Reid's Game Changers series sold over 650,000 copies, but the fan base always considered this particular book unadaptable because it was too explicit, too niche, too gay for anything resembling mainstream television. They were completely wrong.
Why the fuck did you think it was okay to sex me before the game? What the fuck?
You were hard, weren't you?
2 weeks after premiere, the show hit a 98% critics score on Rotten Tomatoes and became the most-watched original series in Crave's entire history. HBO Max saw it become their top-rated non-animated acquired series since launching the platform in 2020. Episode 5 briefly scored a perfect 10 out of 10 on IMDb, matching Breaking Bad's legendary Ozymandias episode.
How about you tell me everything that's on your mind, but in Russian?
Viewership jumped nearly 400% in just the first 7 days. And that's when the backlash started. An Instagram DM kicked off the whole adaptation process. Jacob Tierney, the Canadian creator behind Letterkenny and Shoresy, messaged Rachel Reid out of nowhere in August 2023. The timing couldn't have been worse. Reid had received her Parkinson's disease diagnosis just 4 days earlier.
I was like, okay, it's probably gonna be like a little student film, you know? It'll be small, be like 5 people.
Here's this Nova Scotia author writing under a pen name, and suddenly an openly gay television creator reaches out saying he wants to adapt her book faithfully, no compromises. Tierney wrote a spec script and Crave picked it up by January 2025. Bell Media announced the project at their upfront on June 5, 2025. What matters here is that Accent Aigu Entertainment, Tierney's production company, deliberately avoided international co-production partners during development because they wanted complete creative control over the explicit queer content, no watering down allowed.
I'm not just a pretty face.
Oh, but you're a very pretty face.
You can't tell. If anyone finds out that...
Sphere Abacus came on as UK distributor and co-financier in March 2025, but by then all the creative decisions had been locked in. HBO Max didn't join until November 19th, which was 9 days before premiere. That timing detail becomes crucial later when we get to the Emmy controversy. Casting involved deliberate choices that honored the source material. Hudson Williams took on Shane Hollander, and Connor Story played Ilya Rozanov, both relatively unknown actors at the time.
Fuck you, he played hockey for McGill.
Whoa, what the fuck is McGill? Is McGill a town?
It's a really good school.
Williams is half Asian, matching a character detail from the book, and Reid confirmed that Shane is autistic even though the original text never explicitly stated it. Story, born in Texas, had previously appeared in Joker Folie à Deux and brought unexpected authenticity to the Russian captain role. Reid told Today she couldn't have built better actors in a lab to play these characters. Both Williams and Story signed with CAA after the show's success took off. Critics delivered overwhelming positive responses. The Washington Post praised what they called the lead's bonkers chemistry, while RogerEbert.com labeled it the sexiest and most significant queer show of the year. TV Line named both Williams and Story Performers of the Week for the finale performance.
Ilya, I'm gay.
You're not so gay you can fuck Rose Landry.
Oh my god.
Numbers tell the story too. 98% critics score on Rotten Tomatoes from 58 reviews, 91% audience score, and 71 out of 100 on Metacritic. But viewership told the real story here. This wasn't just successful for a Canadian production or successful within the queer show category, it dominated, period. November 29th saw it ranked number 2 on HBO Max's top 10, sitting right behind it, Welcome to Derry. The viewership numbers forced industry executives to reconsider what audiences actually want from television.
Why are you making so many burgers?
The recipe was for 8, so...
GLAAD featured Heated Rivalry in their December 2025 must-see LGBTQ TV highlights. Megan Townsend, their senior director, pointed out that more than half of LGBTQ Americans and 3 in 10 non-LGBTQ people, roughly 84 million Americans combined, report being more likely to watch a show if at least one character is LGBTQ. Even hockey embraced it.
What the? I'm coming to the cottage.
The Montreal Canadiens aired the show's trailer at their Pride Night game on December 10, 2025, and various NHL teams plus semi-pro leagues started referencing the show on TikTok. Reid later admitted she'd expected the show to be largely dismissed or maybe made into a punchline by the sports world. Instead, institutional sports embraced it in ways that would have seemed impossible a decade ago.
I don't give a fuck how I played 2 fucking nights ago. I don't need to think about that. That was yesterday, that was before.
Former semi-pro goalie Brock McGillis offered Pink News a more cautious take though, noting potential adverse effects on a player coming out given locker room culture. The enthusiasm had its limits. December 2025 brought the explosion everyone remembers. Jordan Firstman, an openly gay actor-writer with his own HBO show called I Love LA, watched Heated Rivalry and delivered a pointed critique in a Vulture interview. He criticized the show's intimate scenes and called the portrayal inauthentic, suggesting the depiction didn't match how gay people actually experience intimacy.
It's amazing. He's amazing, and I've never been happier.
He's crazy about you.
What happened next was immediate and intense. Thousands of messages flooded Firstman's accounts and fans threatened to boycott his HBO show. Francois Arnault, a co-star from Heated Rivalry, responded publicly by asking whether there's only one way to have authentic gay intimacy on TV, and whether intimacy between closeted hockey players should look like intimacy between sceney LA gay guys.
Can you stay?
Here's where everything gets complicated. Firstman had criticized scenes depicting closeted professional athletes, men who'd spent a decade hiding their relationship while navigating internalized homophobia and the hypermasculine culture of professional hockey.
It's a gay bar, and I was thinking that you could just come as my friend.
His critique assumed one correct way to depict gay intimacy existed, and this show failed that test. The response he received, though, harassment and boycott campaigns, revealed something concerning about the fandom's behavior. December 16th brought a public apology from Firstman, and he and Williams reconciled by sharing a selfie together. How quickly that reconciliation happened suggests both parties recognized the situation had spiraled badly out of control. Bloomberg reported later that the controversy reignited an unhealthy debate over who gets to tell the stories of marginalized communities.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm assuming your buddy might be gay.
A parallel controversy ran alongside the Firstman incident. Neither Hudson Williams nor Connor Story has publicly disclosed their sexuality. Some people consider this detail crucial. The argument runs that queer roles should go to openly queer actors, that representation extends behind the camera, that closeted or straight actors taking these roles perpetuates a system where queer performers still struggle for opportunities.
You're not jealous, are you?
No.
I'm sorry, sir. We'd really like to accommodate you, but
Williams told Deadline this is just the nature of celebrity and maintains he deserves something for himself, meaning he's not obligated to disclose his sexuality for public consumption. That stance doesn't satisfy everyone, though. Show supporters point out that creator Jacob Tierney is openly gay, that he wrote all 6 episodes, that his vision drove the entire production. Authenticity comes from the creative leadership, not the actors' personal lives, according to this argument. Critics counter that this logic creates a troubling hierarchy, saying it's okay if the actors aren't queer because the creator is, suggests some queer people's authenticity validates others' ability to portray queerness, which is the same industry structure that's always existed, just with a gay showrunner providing cover. No clean resolution exists here. Both positions contain legitimate concerns, and what stands out is how quickly the debate turned hostile, how little room existed for any nuance. Salon published an extensive analysis titled "Do Women Love Heated Rivalry Too Much?" that examined whether straight women are fetishizing gay male relationships. This concern isn't new. romance has been dominated by female authors and female readers for decades now. Fiction, BL manga, the entire infrastructure of fan culture around gay male pairings has always been heavily female. Heated Rivalry brought those dynamics into mainstream visibility, though. Book Talk drove the original novel's sales. The show's most vocal online defenders are overwhelmingly women, and when Jordan Firstman, an actual gay man, criticized the show's depiction of gay intimacy, he faced what Salon called intense policing by female fans of gay male critics. Salon argued that if actual gay men can't interpret media depicting their own experience without being threatened to the point of public apology, the question of whether some Heated Rivalry viewers fetishize them is no longer a question but a fact. This territory gets uncomfortable fast. Female fans of content often argue they're supporting queer representation, that their enthusiasm helps these stories exist in mainstream spaces. Truth exists in that claim too. Heated Rivalry wouldn't have been adapted without its existing fan base, most of whom are women. But when does support become appropriation? And when does enthusiasm become possessiveness? The Firstman incident suggests some fans view these characters as their own property, to be defended against any criticism, even from the community being represented. Slate published what might be the most substantive critique amid all the discourse about who's allowed to make and criticize the show, focusing on the show's actual narrative choices. Their argument centered on heated rivalry resolving identity questions in a deeply conservative way by relying on what they called a familiar and utterly exhausted question: what exactly makes someone gay? The critic argued it perpetuates isolation narratives rather than depicting gay community. Shane and Ilya exist in a vacuum, their queerness defined entirely through their relationship with each other, no broader connection to LGBTQ culture or community. This represents a different kind of criticism. Nothing about who made the show or who starred in it matters here. This is about what story the show tells and whether that story serves the community it claims to represent. The counter-argument runs that the show depicts closeted athletes in an institutionally homophobic environment, so of course they're isolated, that's the entire point. The tragedy of their situation is precisely that they can't access community, can't be open, can't exist beyond the secret relationship they've carved out in hotel rooms between games. Slate's critique asks whether telling that story again in 2025 actually helps anyone, or whether it just reinforces the narrative that queer identity is inherently tragic, that coming out is impossible, that gay men are doomed to isolation. The international production structure becomes crucial here. Despite the 98% Rotten Tomatoes score, despite being HBO Max's top-rated acquired series, despite all the acclaim, Heated Rivalry cannot compete at the Primetime Emmy Awards. The reason is purely technical. Bell Media, a Canadian company, fully funded the show before HBO Max joined as distributor. Current Emmy rules require co-production both financially and creatively between US and foreign partners before production begins. Casey Bloys, HBO CEO, confirmed HBO Max will remain only a distributor for Season 2. International Emmy Awards, GLAAD Media Awards, and Canadian Screen Awards remain open to the series. But the Primetime Emmys, the awards that drive cultural conversation and industry prestige, are completely off the table. This matters because it shows how award systems haven't caught up to how television actually gets made in 2025. International streaming distribution deals happen constantly. Shows move between territories all the time, but the Emmy rules still operate as if American television is produced in America by American companies for American audiences. Heated Rivalry is a Canadian show that became culturally significant in the United States. A Canadian created it, Canada hosted filming, a Canadian company funded it, and it became one of the most discussed series of late 2025. The Emmy rules have absolutely no idea what to do with that. December 12, 2025 brought the Season 2 announcement from Crave, just 2 weeks after the premiere. The new season will adapt The Long Game, the 6th book in Reid's series and direct sequel to Heated Rivalry, with elements from Role Model, the 5th book, mixed in. Both lead actors signed contracts for 3 total seasons. Tierney will direct all episodes and may bring in additional writers to help. HBO Max confirmed they'll continue international distribution, and Reid told Variety she hopes for 8 to 12 episodes for the second season, expanding from the first season's 6. Early 2027 is the expected premiere. Tierney stated it won't be an 18-month wait. Reid has also discussed retaining stage rights for a potential Broadway musical adaptation. One more piece completes this story. Remember that Jacob Tierney contacted Reid just 4 days after her Parkinson's diagnosis. The show's success created an unexpected medical benefit. Media coverage led a Parkinson's specialist to reach out after seeing Tierney mention Reid's diagnosis on CNN. Reid had been on a 5-year waiting list for specialist care. Now she has an appointment with a neurologist. Reid reflected on the entire experience by saying that when you write the kind of books she does, you don't really expect anyone to even think about adapting them. It's not the sort of thing that gets adapted, and certainly not the sort of thing that gets adapted faithfully. She added that she hopes it's going to change the way romance gets filmed, that she doesn't think anybody thought you could actually take a high-heat romance and really film it. So what do these controversies actually reveal? First, enormous appetite exists for authentic queer stories in traditionally heteronormative genres. Viewership numbers prove it. Critical reception proves it. The cultural conversation proves it. NHL teams sharing the trailer prove it. Second, we still haven't figured out who gets to tell these stories. The debates about actors' sexuality, about female fans of content, about whether a gay creator's vision validates straight or closeted actors, these aren't new questions. Heated Rivalry forced them into mainstream visibility because the show itself was so successful, it couldn't be ignored. Third, representation is more complicated than presence. Slate's critique about isolation narratives versus community, Firstman's critique about authenticity versus closeted behavior, these are substantive questions about what kind of queer stories we keep telling and whether they serve the community. Fourth, fandoms can be as supportive as they are problematic. The response Firstman received, the harassment, the boycott campaigns, that's not enthusiasm, that's possessiveness turned toxic. Fifth, the industry infrastructure still isn't built for how television actually works now. The Emmy situation is absurd. A show can be culturally significant, critically acclaimed, and commercially successful in the United States while being technically ineligible for American television's most prestigious awards because of when international distribution deals were signed. Heated Rivalry achieved something genuinely rare. It proved that explicit queer romance could be faithfully adapted for television, that audiences wanted it, and that it could succeed by every metric that matters. The show itself is good. By most measures, it's great. The controversies surrounding it aren't about quality, they're about identity, ownership, representation, and the unresolved tensions in how we talk about queer media in 2025. Rachel Reid's reflection captures this perfectly. She explained that mostly she was just kept in the loop. Jacob wrote all the scripts, she wasn't involved in writing them but did read them all, and she thinks her approval was very important to him, which is very touching and nice. That's the whole story in miniature. An author wrote a book nobody thought could be adapted. A creator who genuinely cared about the material made it happen. The result was successful beyond anyone's expectations, and then everyone argued about what it meant, who it was for, and whether it should have existed at all. Season 2 arrives in early 2027. The debates will continue. The show will remain ineligible for Emmys, the Montreal Canadiens will probably keep playing the trailer at Pride Night, and somewhere in Nova Scotia, Rachel Reid is working with a Parkinson's specialist she wouldn't have access to without this entire improbable series of events. These are the controversies of Heated Rivalry, a show that succeeded by every measure while simultaneously proving that success doesn't resolve anything, it just makes the arguments louder.